Hello everyone, this is Jeannie Ellis, also known as Scrapbooking Mama. Today I want to share with you on a project that I'm doing for Through the Craft Room door. I'm going to turn wood into the look of metal. And the way I usually do that is that I use several colors. But first of all, what I do is prepare my surface. This is a wooden cage, and I've got a wooden bird, and I've got a wooden branch. And this here, this wooden cage, I will first cover with the gesso, as I've already done with my pieces here. And then my next step is to take black acrylic paint, and that would be another background surface for this. Now it comes in different steps that I'll be doing, so I'll just bring the what I need at a time and let you see what it is. So let me get started with the cage, and we'll put these two aside. And I'm just going to put a little paint on. I hope I have, there we go. A little paint on my paper. I'm using parchment paper just so it'll be an easier cleanup for that. And get my brush, and you'll see that my brush is pretty well used brush. But that's good. That shows I do my crafting, and I love the crafting. So anyway, it's not going to be like real thick at first. I'm just kind of thinning it out there. And I'm just going to go all over it. And it doesn't matter if it seeps through a little bit, that's okay. Just be spreading all over. I don't worry too much about the edges until at the very end, maybe when everything's well dried, and I can put a little something on the edge. Sometimes I put like maybe a little gold rub on it or something, or pearls. Or this one I won't be doing pearls because there's too many little swirls there. But just something to make it look real, look nicer on the edge. But it just depends on what it looks like when I get done. Now, I did gesso the back of it too, but that's only because I wanted it to have that, kind of a glazed white look to it, or whitewash, I should say, not glaze. So I'm about done here, putting the black surface part on. If you have a little bit of white that kind of didn't dry from your gesso, it's not going to hurt anything because all this is just a base color anyway. The gesso is to prepare your surface. It kind of primes it for your work. And I do use it a lot. That's why my husband got me a big bottle this time. Not a gallon, but he did give me a big bottle because I do use it a lot. Okay, now I'm kind of going around the edge just a little bit there because I've noticed that it's showing a little too much. So we're going to kind of try to cover that up a little bit too. Once it dries, if I look at it and if I need to get some more on it, on the edge and stuff, then I can do that. But I'm not too awfully worried about that part just yet. I want to get my main piece done. Okay, hang on just a minute. Okay, now you can see that I have everything painted in the black. And to make this a little faster, I'm going to take my heat gun, my heat embossing gun, and I am going to dry it faster. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start putting some color into it. And what I usually use is something that's got a pasty look to it, or semi-pasty or liquidy, and start adding my colors into it. So I'm going to take and see if, I'm just playing this by ear because that's the way you do it. You don't have a specific technique to it maybe, but it's colors that you add that you want to add into. And see, like this piece right here, I want to show you there, that's okay. That's not going to hurt anything, although you may get a black finger. But I'll use the Art Alchemy Antique Brilliance Red Amber. And I'm probably going to put in some acrylic paint sparks. This one's Fairy Wings. And this one is Ginger Magic. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this, if I can open it. There we go. And you can see that I've used it a lot. So don't worry about that. I mean, it's gonna work out anyway. You know, I just kind of take the top of it off. That's probably because I used black on top of that earlier on another project. So, okay, so I have my 3 colors here that I'm going to be using. You also might want to get some wipes, and I keep mine in a little container like this. And because I make a lot of messes, as you can see by my fingers. And the reason I use the wipes, you know, is because with using my fingers gives me a little more control than a brush. For me, anyway. Now, other people may not have that happen with them, but it does for me. So I'm just kind of randomly spreading this around. And what I like about this pasty color is that it already has a metallic look to it. So that's why I thought I'd go ahead and use this. But I want to also give it kind of a patina look to it, like an distressed look to it. Patina's more green, but I want to give it more of a metallic look to it. So I'm going to add other colors to it. So it's just randomly spread over with my finger. And I may, if I put too much color in one spot, just, you know, I'll just layer it with another color. I'm going to leave this black for right now. That may change because when you're doing projects like this, as you go along, you may see some changes you want to do. I might accidentally get some on there, but that's not what I want to do, but that's okay. Paint is forgivable. Okay, now I'm going to start adding a little bit of the other colors to it. And the reason, though, that I use black to begin with, because for me, it gives me more of a metal look. Everybody has their own technique. Now I'm going to take my green, which is the Fairy Wings, and you can see here it's a little bit more, it's liquidy. So I'm going to take my other paintbrush, because it's not pasty like this. I'm going to take my paintbrush for this, and I'm just going to kind of spread it over. Just wipe it over. It doesn't matter where. Even if you get on the green or the copper color, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. I can add more of the copper color if I want to. So it's a matter of layer upon layer. Now I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to kind of dry it a little bit. That's just so that I won't have my paints running together too much. Okay, now I'm going to see what the Ginger Magic is going to look like. It's also a liquid, so instead of using my finger, and I can use my finger if I want on that, but with it being that liquid, I always like to use a brush, a small brush or something like this. And you can see that it's well worn too, so well used. So, and even though it's almost the same color as the first color that I did, the paste, it still has a little bit of a color difference. So I'm going to go with it. So here's little spaces in here I want to get. And you can see it's not exact. See how light it is compared? You can see it right there in their spot. And you can see that I got some colors into my little circle there, but that's not going to matter. Like I said, we can paint over that. As long as it's not like so much that you can't work with it. And I got a little thick there. I don't want that thick there. I don't know if you saw me take a picture of that, but I'm taking pictures as much as I can as I go along, just in case my new software doesn't work right. I have been on the hunt trying to find new software in place of the Windows Media Maker. Okay, now I like the brightness to this, but I think I'm going to add some more of the green and gold or copper into it again. And see how it's looking metallic though? That shine of the paste and the liquid is what really makes it happen that way. The type of paints that you use. Okay, back into the heat gun process. I always try to put the lid on as much as possible because of the fact that you don't want your paste and paint to dry out too much. Okay, now you can see that there's, I have a lot of the green in there and I have a lot of the lighter copper looking color. So I am going to add some more of my paste because I really want some more of that color into it. And as you can see, it will change color on top of the greens or whatever other colors that you use. They change, which is okay because metal changes. This is the main color I really want to show anyway. Let me pull my sleeve up here. It gets cold in the house. Everybody's hot-natured. So now I have a little spot there, but that's not going to matter. Like I said, everybody does it differently. Use different colors. There's a slew of colors out there you can use. But do prepare to get messy. And if I finish this late, once I finish this and I decide, oh my goodness, I don't have enough of this color or that color in it, it's not a problem to add another color. I don't usually put a finish on it until I'm absolutely satisfied with it. And a lot of times what I'll do is just spray it with acrylic spray. But I want to make sure it's the coloring that I want. This is going to hang up on my wall. And I wanted to do a bird and then put some hearts around it. So I'll show you my finished project later, but I want to show you all this is the purpose of this is to show you the metal part of it, the big part of it, and show you how I put in the main piece. Now, I'm going to let you look at that. See if you can see how metal it looks. Such a big difference, isn't it? Okay, let me put the lid on that, and I'm going to dry it again. I'm going to heat gun it again, just to make sure that's good and dry. And so you can see I had some black paint that wasn't dry on here yet, but that's on the back. And on the back, it's not going to look very pretty on the back, but that can be taken care of too. But I'm just showing you the front today. Okay, get plenty of wipes out. Again, I'm going to take a picture of my project as I go along. Okay, for now I'm going to set these colors aside. And I'm going to take my cage and set it aside. And now I have my branch and my bird. Let's see if I can get some more of this off. This is a fun part. That's why I had parchment paper on it earlier, because I wanted to make sure I didn't get too much on here, because it's so much harder to clean off than to just take your parchment paper and throw it away. So, but it's in the other room. Okay, now my branch, there's no leaves on it. So that's a good thing, because I won't have to worry about making leaves or coloring the leaves on it. All right, let me get a color. Now, I am not sure if I want to use acrylic paint that's metallic brown or just a regular spice brown or a bark brown. And this is bark brown, so maybe I should use that. But I may put a little bit of the metallic. Oh, shake it first. Take a little bit of the metallic. And I may just put it in there just to give it a little glistening to it. A little bit more than a little bit, wasn't it? Take my paper towel and kind of wipe my brush a little bit. Move the bird. Just kind of spread it around. When it dries, it may look a little more metallic, and I don't want a lot of metallic look to it. I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the whole thing so I can blend the colors all better. It didn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that was the metallic brown, dark brown, chocolate brown rather. Okay, now I'm going to take another layer of cut brown after I heat emboss this, and you can see I had a lot of metallic left. So I didn't intend to do that, but sometimes it happens. Sorry about the shake there, I hit the camera. Okay, whoops. All right, now that part's done as far as the brown metallic goes, but I need to add, let's see, the bark brown is darker. I think I'll add the spice brown first. Okay, a little bit over here. And then I'm going to put my bark brown over here on the other side. Just a little bit. It doesn't take a whole lot to do. So you can see the two colors are different in here. Let me see. Let me move this up a little. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's just a tiny bit of a difference, enough to make a difference when it's dry probably. So let's just see. So I'm just spreading it out this way. I'm using kind of the edging of my brush. Now I'm going to take the darker brown. I'm going to spread some in here. May not even show the metallic. That's okay. It doesn't, you don't really know a lot of times how exactly it's going to turn out until you're done. Okay, now I'm going to heat dry that. Okay. Now, what I want you to see is that I've got some lines in there, and I did that on purpose because I want a bark, a tree has lines in it, but I'm going to get me some acrylic white also. And I'm going to try to put just a little bit of white into it, see if I can do that without having to start over. Sometimes you do this and you think you got it going where you want, and then you find out it wasn't exactly what you wanted. So I'm going to take my brush again. See my dirty paper towel. Just going to take a little bit of it. I'm just kind of putting it in like this on the edge there. See, the edge of the brush is what I'm using. Just a little highlights into it. Put a little more back up here and up here. Too much there, so kind of wipe it off a little bit. Turn it. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. There we go, a little more up there. You want it to show a little, so just some highlights in there, that's all I'm doing. Oops, maybe a little too much there. There. Okay, so I used 3 different colors of brown, and I used white on top of that. So I'm going to take me another picture here, so bear with me. Okay. Now I'm going to set these guys over here for just a minute because I'm going to use some of it for my bird. So I'm going to put the branch aside, bring my bird over, and then I'm going to take my brush again. And what I'm going to do first on the bird is that I'm going to paint him all white. He has the gesso on it, but like I said, that gesso is simply a primer for your paints. It prepares the surface. So I'm going to turn him, get that white on there. The white on here is just simply to let other colors show through, or to show that white through the other colors, rather, if that's the way it works out. I never know until I do it, so that's my plan. Okay, I'm going to smooth that white out a little bit. Looks a little bit too rough. So the big thing on what I was trying to show you today, of course, is turning the wood into the metallic. But now we're having the fun of coloring the embellishments and getting them ready to put onto the cage. So let me dry this up real quick. Now my bird may not be traditional bird colors or what a bird is supposed to look like as far as coloring goes. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a sparrow. I don't know if it's going to be a robin. I don't know what it's going to be. I know it's not going to be a cardinal because of the shape. But anyway, the purpose of this is just to get it colored, and don't worry so much about it. If you go to the website and look up images of birds, you can do that if you want to. But for this little fella, I think what I am going to do is get a yellow. He kind of reminds me of a chickadee. And I'm going to kind of color yellow on here. So now I've got my yellow. And I'll need to prepare my brush for it also. Because I've still got white on it in case I needed that. Just a little bit of yellow. And if it doesn't work out, then I can put another color on top of that yellow instead. Then again, paint is very, very forgiving. So I'm just going to put a little yellow on his belly. Just kind of like that. Figure out where I want his wing to be. Okay, so now he's got his yellow on. See, I didn't even take that much of it. It doesn't call for much at all. Okay, now he's got his yellow on his belly. Now because he's going to be brown in there, I'm going to kind of do his wings and the top of his head a little bit in the spice brown. I'm just kind of painting it on there. No rhyme or reason right now. It's just kind of getting the basis on there. And he's got a little branch too. So I'm not adding the metallic on this branch. You know what? I think I will anyway. I'm going to go ahead and add some metallic to him on his branch. Just so it'll kind of match the other. Doesn't have to be perfectly matched. Okay, now go back to the spice brown. Adding my colors on. Kind of tap it on there. Give it kind of a wing look. Just a matter of adding different colors to it. Maybe too much white then. Now a little brown. I mean, yes, it is bark brown, but that's okay. Okay, now let me show you what I'm doing here next. I went ahead and colored the bird and the branch. Of course, you saw the branch and I finished at the bird. But my main focus, like I said earlier, is to show you the cage. Now, I had painted all that, left that black, but I noticed I had some stuff, other paste and colors into it, which I covered them up. Then I got to thinking I might need to add, let's see if the colors, there we go. You can't see the blue oxide in there very well, but I am going to take some more of it. And what I did earlier was I took a brush and then I kind of spread it around and it took off too much of the blue. So I'm going to try it and do this. This isn't very expensive, so if I ruin it, I've got extras that I can replace it with. So I'm going to take my Tim Holtz ink oxides and I am going to just kind of give it that blue tint black background to it. That's basically all I'm doing. It just gives it a little bit of a background color. So the bird won't look like he's in an abyss or something dark. And just circling it around is all I'm doing. And I may get some on the other colors, but I can fix that easily. Just try to be careful though. Okay, so now it's getting more of a blue tint to it. And I don't want it necessarily to be a bright blue or anything. So that's all I'm doing is just kind of giving a tint. This is broken china color, the oxides. Now, it's just got a slight blue to it. That's all I wanted, with just a slight tint to it. So I'm going to put the cover back on. And by the way, I store my little sponges in a little bottle like that comes like this. So they all store safely in there. And I've got them marked on top the initials of the colors. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my heat gun on it. And then I'm going to take my branch, and I'm going to lay it on here just to see where I want it, because I want my bird here too. And I forgot to add a little bit of the brown into it, the darker brown, burnt brown. So I'm just going to take my finger to it. Oop, maybe a little too much, not surprising. So let me show the Distress Oxide here, so that way you see what it is. Okay, don't want to get the wrong thing. A little bit of color onto it, just enough to give it a little darker to match the other. There we go, that's good. So I'm going to take my branch, see where I want it, see where I want this little guy. And I think that's about where I want him. Maybe a little, I don't want him to look like he's about to fall into the branch there. And I think that's how I'm going to put him. So I'm going to take my, sometimes I have discovered that hot glue doesn't always work the way you want it to. So sometimes I take a liquid glue, like Art Glitter Glue. Let me see what it says. Okay, it says it's industrial strength. So we are going to do industrial strength glue. We're going to see how well that works. Sometimes, like I said, the hot glue, you know, it's good, but sometimes it can tend to fall off. Which, you know, I mean, I've had people, you know, go, oh, that's so pretty, and then they may get it, and then maybe the hot glue, it got hot somewhere, and it melts off, you know. So hot glue may not always be the best thing for your projects, although it has a ton of uses, and I still use it a lot. So I'm spread my Art Glitter Glue around. I'm going to kind of wipe my fingers off first. Now this has a curing time of 4 hours, but it dries fast, but for it to be cured, it takes about 4 hours, I believe, if I read that right. So, whoops, stuck to my finger. I'm going to lay it down. Move my bird for a minute because I got my branch on there now. I'm going to take that Art Glitter Glue again, spread it on the back of my bird. And stick them on here. Don't want them to be falling. Okay. Now, you know, if you want, you can put like books or something on top of that to keep it from, to make it stick better. Okay. Now, the next thing I'll show you is the finished project. All it is now, it's a matter of decorating it, and that's going to be up to you. So I'm going to be decorating it, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so now I am done with my project, and I'm showing you what I've done with it for the final final project. I will show a better picture at the end and let you see that. But I want to let you know that I found some white resin birds, and I just simply did the basic thing that I did to the cage. I painted black, but I just used the red amber, the copper color for the birds because I thought that looked better and they would stand out better. And I used them, flowers and some embellishments, rhinestones, and I added leaves and other butterflies here and added some pearls around there. And I was done. I also added some applique leaves here. So, and all the colors, all the supplies, I'm going to put it at the beginning of the video. If you don't get it, just be sure to go back and check that out. So, thank you for watching. Have a great day. And be sure to look at all the tutorials throughout the magazine because it's got a lot of great projects in there for you to do. Thank you. God bless.